So good day. This is just a brief introduction and a quick tutorial. So in FreeCAD, once you open the window, this is what you are presented with. You are at the start menu, and you can start your drawing depending on what you want to do. If you already have drawings on hand, you can go to the assembly workbench and join them all together. If you are starting a drawing, I would advise that you start with a parametric body. So you go to the icon here. Can you see this icon? You go to this icon here, and then you click on it, you double click on it. So you are now in the part design workbench. You will see it up here, part design workbench. Now my own window is a little bit different to your own. This is just due to my own settings. So in your own version, all you need to do, you would see part workbench. If you want to go to another workbench, you click a drop down menu. A drop down menu, that's the small arrow by the side, something like this one now. There's a drop down menu. You click on it, you see all the other workbenches. So that's how you do it. So you are in the part workbench. Every drawing or design starts with a body. Because you clicked on part workbench, on part design, it already created a body for you. Now the proper thing for you to do is to save your file. So go to file, go to save, and give it a name. I will name my own tutorial. I want to save it in my desktop. I've chosen the location I want it to be. It's in the desktop. So I click on save. Makes it easy for you to copy later on. So you see, on your right hand side, you will see something. You see tutorial body. So you can see the file is tutorial. There's a body inside it. So the question that was given to you to solve, it's of two types. The first one is the easiest, which is you should create a sketch. The second and third one are full drawings. So I will first of all teach you how to go about doing a sketch, because that is foundational to everything that we talked about in the class. A sketch is a 2D drawing which we can subsequently turn into a 3D drawing. So that's what we start with. So you are in the body, you start a new sketch. It gives you suggestion on the other side, like this is what you can do presently. You can start a new sketch. You can do that by clicking on this icon here. You can also do it by clicking here. You see that the icons are identical. Whichever one you choose will open the sketcher workbench. So new sketch. Now your new sketch will have to start on a plane. I don't have to explain what a plane is to any of you. I believe you know what that is. So you are met with three options. You are met with the XY plane, the XZ plane, and the YZ plane. So you choose either of those three. I would prefer us to use the XY plane for the sketch. So you click on the XY plane and you click OK here. You can also double click on it on this diagram here, but to keep it simple, click on XY plane, click on OK. It opens the sketcher workbench. If you check the upper part of my screen here, you will see sketcher. You're in the sketcher workbench. On your own, the workbench menu would have turned to sketcher. Now, when you are sketching, there are two things you do basically. You create geometry and you also give measurements. You dimension your geometry. So for that example, there are many tools required for you to finish it up. You see, the drawing is made up of multiple lines. So let's start. There are different ways to go about it, but I will try to teach you the simplest for this particular problem. So here is it here. I'm sure most of you have it with you. So you can choose the line tool. This is the line tool. I want us to use the line tool. There are other tools we can use, but let's make use of the line tool. So I click on this. I'll start with the two parallel lines up and down, the 45 millimeter lines. We are working in millimeters. So I'll draw this. You see, as I'm drawing, as I click once, it's asking me how long do I want it to be. In the diagram, you see it is labeled 45. So I type 45. Are you following? Yes. I type 45 and it's asking me for an angle. I don't want it to be at any angle. I want it to be horizontal. If you check on the icon, where the mouse is, you will see there is a dash line. There is a dash on it. That dash that looks like a minus is telling you that you want to constrain it to be horizontal. Horizontal meaning, do you want your line to lie flat on the x-axis? So since that is what we want, we just click again. And you see on that line, you have a line that is 45 millimeters, and that line has a dash on it. That dash is telling you that this line is perfectly horizontal. So to aid us with our drawing, we are going to make this line fall equally on both x positive and y positive. So we can try to do it manually like this, you see, but it won't be accurate. So what we do is we will make this line symmetrical across the middle line here. We'll make it symmetrical to this line. We'll make it symmetrical to this line. So how do we do that? We click on this dot, this line, and also this dot, and then we go and use what we call the symmetry constraints. We are just simply saying that, see these two dots, make these two dots or points symmetrical across this line. So how do we do that? This here, you see it, symmetric constraint. It also has a shortcut, and the shortcut is the letter S on your keyboard. If I press the letter S, it will make the 2 points symmetrical across that line. So I'll just click on it here. You see symmetric constraint into bracket S. What do we have? The line is now perfectly, the middle line divides the line into two perfectly. So what is 45 divided by 2? That's 22.5. So to this side is 22.5, to the other side is 22.5. So if you look at that sketch, we also have the same line on the lower side. So let's do that. Let's go to the line tool, the tool we used to draw the line before. Let's go and click on it. Click on it. Then go to the lower part of the sketch and draw a line. Same thing we did before. We are going to let it be what? 45. So type 45 and press enter. And then same thing, you see, as it's asking for a number for the angle, you can actually press 0 for the angle and press enter. So what do we have? We have a line that is 45 in length and that is perfectly horizontal. But this line, you see, it can move about. Go and compare it to the line above. That one cannot move from left to right. It can only move from up to down. So we want something similar to that to happen to this line. So what do we do? note that there are other ways of making this happen. I can, let me just show you a different way. Anyways, use Ctrl Z until we delete the second line. So you see the second line is no longer there. So let's try it a different way. We click on the line tool, we draw the line. You don't need to give it any dimension, just draw it and click on the other side. So you see we have a line. It's a straight line. It's definitely not 45 millimeters, but at least it is horizontal. So what we can do, are you following? What we can do now is we can click on the previous line we drew, that is 45 millimeters. Click on the present line, the newest one we just drew, and go and click on equal. We make these two lines equal. You see the constraint here? That's the equality constraint. Or you can also press E. So if I click on it, the two lines are now equal, which means they are now 45 millimeters each. Now, remember the symmetry tool we used before, where we made the line symmetric across the horizontal line. So what we can do now, we can make these two lines symmetric along the vertical line. So let's click on this point. Let's click on this line as the axis, that's the Y axis. Let's click on it, and then let's click on this point, and let's press letter S. Letter S means what? Symmetry. So you can see now the lines are symmetric across that Y axis, that red axis. So now if I move the lower line up, you see the upper one moves closer. If I move it away, it moves closer. And because they are symmetric across the vertical axis, what happens? I cannot move them left to right. And if you see here, it says 1 degree of freedom. You see, they can only move up and down and no more. So we already have our two lines, 45 at the top, 45 at the bottom. So how do we continue from here? We also have other lines that we need to draw. One is 22 and one is 25. Let's draw this one, the two lines, this side of the diagram. Let's draw the sides of the diagram. So we go to the line tool. So we are going to click on this point, and then we'll draw our line. The line is what? How many? 22. Type 22. Degrees, leave degree alone. We are not going to give it degrees. So we just, or you can start like this. You can just go to the line tool, click on this, draw your line, click again, and then that means you have not given it any dimension. Do you get that? I'm not giving it any dimension. So now let's draw another line. We draw this one, we come down. You will see, you will make sure that you will notice that it is still showing a sign that this line is horizontal. So this line is supposed to be how many millimeters? 25. Let's give it its own 25. And then it is what? How many degrees? We leave that degree part alone. So just click. So you see the line is now perfectly vertical and it is 25 millimeters, telling us that this part still needs to move a little bit away. So let us finish this by drawing this line, the line that joins this line. So we go to the line tool, we select this line, we join it with this one, you make them coincident. So you see the two lines are joined. If you move this around, you see all of them are joined together. So let's click on this line and this line and make them equal by pressing letter E. Both lines are equal now. Both lines are equal now. So we can give them their dimension. Let's give one of them the dimension. If we dimension one of them, the second one automatically gets dimensioned too. So let's give this one. You click on the line and we give it a dimension by pressing letter D. D for what? Dimension. And what is the dimension? It is 22. 22. So that way, this line is now 22. This line is also 22 since they are both equal. And remember, you can still move this one up and down because it's not fully constrained because the other side of the drawing is not complete yet. Now, to teach you another skill, let me call it that, you can click on this line. Since we have to draw them on this other side, click on this one, click on this one too, and then you can come here and say, do you see this mirror? Can you see that one, mirror? I said you should not give it, don't give it a dimension for angle. Give it dimension for angle. So you select the three geometries, this line, and this line, and you click on the, you see it, mirror. I think on some version it's called symmetry tool. So you click on it, and then it will ask you, what line do you want it to be symmetric across? You select this line. Then you have something that is symmetric across the other line. But there's a trap here. The trap is that it is not joined to this drawing here. So we can go and use what we call the coincident constraint, which means when you say coincident, it means 2 points occupying the same space. So I click on this point, I click on this point, and I press letter C. Or if I don't want to press letter C, there is this icon here, you see, coincident constraint. C, that bracket C is just telling us the shortcut. So press on that, you see the two lines are now properly joined together. We need to do that for this line too, you see. So you click on this, you click on this, and you press the letter C. With that, you have your basic shape. With that, you have your basic shape. So let's make this and this. When you see this situation, you just press Ctrl Z. So you have your basic shape. So let's work on the slot inside of the drawing. So we are going to draw 2 slots. This is what we give our overall dimension for our drawing. So there is a tool for drawing slots, and there are other ways of drawing slots too. For this tutorial to not be too long, which is already long, let's just use the tool. So this is the slot tool. I'm going to click on this side. I'm going to draw it down. Are you seeing that? I'm going to draw it down. So I just draw and it's something arbitrary. I go to the other side. I draw something arbitrary. So just watch out, make sure these things are here, which make sure that the slot is vertical. So we have two slots. You need to make them equal. You could have drawn one and then mirror it. That would work too. You understand? So let's just take this and this, make them equal by pressing E. Take this and this, make them equal by pressing E. Also, if you see, this needs to be symmetric to this line. So we can say we want this line, this dot and this point and this point to be symmetric across this line. You press letter S. Can you see? It is now right in the middle. Do the same thing for this one here and here, symmetric across this line. Press letter S. So you see, we have these two here. Now we can start adding our basic dimension that was given in the drawing. It says from this edge to this edge is what? 32. So I'm going to press D for dimension. I want to dimension the distance. It said this was 32. It also says that from our edge here to our edge here, from this to this, it says it is what? 13.5. So we press letter D and you label it 13.5. Also, it says from this point, this line, from this line here, or the entirety of this line itself. You can say from this point to this point. What is a line? A line is just the distance between 2 points. You can say between this point and this point, you give it a dimension pressing D, or you can click on the line itself and give it a dimension pressing D, which is 25 on the diagram. And then what else are we omitting? The only one that is left now is to dimension our what? Our radius, which is 4 millimeters. So I'm going to click on this and say dimension D 4. It is 4 now. But you can see if you check this, you still have some movement here because one of them is still not fixed. So what we're going to do, in the diagram you will see there's another 13.5 from this point to this point, which is D. What did they give us? 13.5. 13.5. Did you see that everything has turned into what color now? Color green. And here you have what? Fully constrained. And if you try to move any part of this, it becomes unmovable. If you do a diagram and it doesn't fully turn green, your mark is going to be deducted. There are different ways of constraining. This is just a way of going about it. Do you understand? So let's finish here. Let me just give you some bonus things. We are done with the drawing. The bonus things are that my FreeCAD looks a bit different because I did a bit of customization to it. So we can go to edit, preferences. So here is where you do your little changes. So if I go to display and decide on how smooth I want it to be by changing anti-aliasing and things like that, all sorts of things. Go to my UI, change colors. I can change colors. Presently, I'm using a theme. That is why mine looks like that. If I choose FreeCAD, it will look exactly how yours look when you started. You can change for navigation too. You can change all sorts of things here. And if we go to the part and part design here, we go to part and part design here, you will see different settings, different settings. So you see true transparent, highlight, all those things like that. So you can change your settings here, change the color of your diagram when you're done with it, and all sorts of things. I want to see if I can make, I go to workbenches. Workbenches, I want to show you why my own looks the way it looks. This, your own is in combo box, mine is in what? Tab bar. That is why the upper part, my workbenches are listed individually on the upper part. If you want yours to look like that too, you go to preferences, you go to workbenches, you change it here, and you change this to tab bar, then it will look exactly the way mine looks like. You get that? So I'm not changing anything, and I think I'll teach you other things now as I have time to. So let's stop this now. I'm closing it. So here is our sketch now. I can rename it by pressing F2 or by right clicking and going to rename. So I can just be first sketch. You can hide it by clicking on this eyes icon or by pressing spacebar, clicking on it and pressing spacebar. That is what hides and shows your drawings. You may hide it and not be able to find it again. Most likely this is what is causing it. You go to the eyes and click on it, or you click on it and press spacebar. You can hide the entire body, or you can hide individual parts of it, like the sketch. I can even bring back the origin by showing it. You understand? I've pressed Ctrl S, which is the same thing as save.